Imagine scaling a mountain where the air is thin, the terrain treacherous, and every step could be your last. This is the reality for climbers in the death zone, a place where survival demands preparation, caution, and bravery. Now, imagine British politics in the same perilous state with every major party teetering on the edge. Welcome to Log Finance. Today, we're diving into the metaphorical death zone of British politics. Labour, the Conservatives, and Reform UK all face historic levels of unpopularity, and the stakes couldn't be higher. What brought them here, and how can they escape? Let's unravel this precarious moment in Britain's political journey. The death zone of British politics. In mountaineering, the death zone begins above 8,000 meters, where oxygen is scarce and survival is a battle against the elements. In politics, the death zone is marked by poll numbers in the low 20s, a perilous position where parties lose relevance, resources, and voter trust. Right now, all three major players, Labour, the Conservatives, and Reform UK, find themselves in this zone. Labour sits at 26%, far below its landslide winning heights. The Conservatives match that number, barely improving from their historic general election loss. Reform UK, meanwhile, hovers at 21%, enough to draw headlines, but not enough to guarantee significant parliamentary success. Labour, a complacent climb. Labour's current majority of 163 MPs might give the party a sense of security, but danger is lurking. Complacency has set in, with some leaders dismissing poll warnings, yet cracks are forming. Labour Together, a think tank close to the party, highlights the risk of losing voters both to the right as well as to left-leaning alternatives like the Greens. Take a moment to imagine Labour as climbers near the summit, ignoring storm clouds gathering below. The view might seem splendid now, but failing to address voter concerns about issues like the NHS, housing, and the economy could lead to a steep fall. The Conservatives, frozen in denial. The Conservatives are no strangers to political crises, but their current predicament is dire. Despite Labour's stumbling start, Tory poll numbers remain stagnant. A report by the Centre for Policy Studies bluntly states, many people came to hate the Conservative Party and will for a long time. Yet, denial reigns. Some Conservatives take solace in Labour's unpopularity rather than confronting their own. It's akin to climbers stripping off their coats in the freezing cold, a surefire way to court disaster. Without addressing voter discontent and rebuilding trust, the party risks sliding further into irrelevance. Reform, UK, the risky challenger. If any party embodies the reckless optimism of early mountaineers, it's Reform UK. With only 5 MPs and limited resources, Nigel Farage's party faces steep odds. Yet Reform UK has captured public frustration, even briefly polling as the second most popular party. Farage's vision of a once in a century political rupture could either catapult his party to new heights or leave it stranded in obscurity. The challenge, Britain's first past the post electoral system, which often turns strong poll numbers into meagre parliamentary representation. Reform UK is walking a razor's edge where triumph and collapse are equally likely. The lessons of 2019, surviving the death zone. The last time British politics collectively entered the death zone was during the Brexit years of 2019. Discontent reached a fever pitch, and drastic measures followed. Theresa May was ousted, Boris Johnson took over, and an election broke the stasis. It was painful, but it ended the turmoil. Today, voter anger remains palpable, but its causes are harder to pinpoint. Is it the state of the NHS, the economy, immigration? Westminster seems frozen, hoping to outlast the storm rather than addressing its root causes. Escaping the death zone. What's needed? To survive and thrive, Britain's political parties must act decisively. Rebuild trust. Parties must reconnect with voters by addressing their frustrations head on. Policies on public services, economic stability, and immigration must be clear, actionable, and inclusive. Reinvent strategies. Labour cannot rely on its current majority. It must stem the loss of voters on all sides. Similarly, the Conservatives need to acknowledge their own unpopularity and craft a vision for the future that resonates. Seize the moment. Reform. UK has the momentum, but needs infrastructure and resources to turn public interest into electoral success. Without these, it risks becoming another footnote in British political history. Collaborate across divides. In times of crisis, collaboration and compromise are essential. British politics could benefit from less partisanship and more focus on collective solutions to national issues. Closing thoughts. A mountain to climb. The death zone of British politics is a precarious place, but it's not insurmountable. Survival demands preparation, courage, and the ability to adapt. The stakes are high, not just for the parties, but for the country they serve. Thank you for joining me on Log Finance. If this episode resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe and share. Let's continue exploring the challenges and opportunities shaping our political and economic futures. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and keep climbing.